Hello, long time no speak. So I've it's been a busy few months, and a lot of that has been trying to move house during a pandemic, trying to change job during a pandemic, trying to do a lot of things during a pandemic. So I haven't had time to play. I'm going to put crappy games in quotes because that's the whole point of playing Devil's Advocate, is to play games that may well have been wrongly assessed, although most of the time it turns out they've not been wrongly assessed at all. But actually, one of the things I thought it might be worth kind of talking about, and it's literally got it this morning, got a coffee, and thought I'll talk about achievements, because I probably mention achievements quite a lot during probably licensed video games when I did that, and playing Devil's Advocate as well. I also play a lot of games on playing Devil's Advocate on Xbox, and only recently have I gotten the bug back for trophies, so I may well do another one of these about trophies, but I thought I'd start with achievements because it's probably the first one that I got addicted to. I remember going to a friend's house who'd just got a 360. This must have been end of 2006, because it was when Gears of War and Tony Hawk's Project 8 came out, and just finding the idea just super addictive, and it eventually led me to playing some games for Windows games, and then eventually getting a 360, and then an Xbox One, and then most recently a Series X. So I've played a lot of games, as you can see from the screen. I'm looking at true achievements just because it's the easiest way to look at it. So, an actual gamer score, I'm at 228,000. I've played a lot of bad points games. I hit a point, I don't remember when, but there's a big thing happened basically since the middle of the Xbox One era, I think, is that gamer scores gotten easier and easier. Easy games back in the 360 were things like Open Season, or Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, or like movie license games. Avatar, The Last Airbender, the classic example where, yes, you can get 1,000 points in 5 minutes, but that was an outlier. There's now companies out there who are just publishing games where 20, 30 minutes you can have the full 1,000 or even 3,000, as you can see some of these on here, in 15, 20 minutes. I don't know. It's kind of devaluing it, but at the same time, I still have that addiction to points, which maybe, I don't know, maybe I've got an issue. But yeah, I thought we'd talk through it, and I thought I'd talk through kind of the rare achievements that I've got, which aren't many, and the completions and some of the kind of close to completions, I guess. So let's start off with what True Achievements calls best achievements. And to be honest, this is not necessarily the best view of this, but we'll have a look at this because this is the highest kind of True Achievement score. So actually my highest one is beating Doom 2 in under 2 hours, which is really weird because actually it's not that difficult to do. So I beat, this is Doom 2 Classic, which I guess is the recent re-release that had all that Bethesda.net crap in it, that they eventually fixed it. I think I have like 950 points out of 1,000 in this. Yeah. So you're gonna have to play through all of Doom 2 and all of the extra levels that they made for that 360 port of Doom 2 a few years ago. And then that was the master levels. Is that the thing maybe I'm thinking of something else. You have to beat the master levels, which are quite tricky. But beating Doom 2 in under 2 hours, you can just go back and I think you can level select, or maybe you just go from a save and basically just blast through the levels on easy. And yeah, it's a really high True Achievement ratio for something that surprisingly didn't take me a long time. Yeah, so you can just jump in. Anyway, so yeah, Doom 2, Golden Compass, bloody hell. Talking of games that I played for points back in the day, yeah, September 2009. I got 600 in this, but apparently not many people completed the game. Or actually, no, it's just because it's got a 250 achievement. It's quite high. Subnautica. Again, I'm surprised that's as high as it is. Because you can just... you can console command your way through that game to get the full 1,000. As you can tell by the completion time. I imagine it would take way longer than that if you did it properly. But yeah, that's a relatively easy one. And it's console commands on Xbox as well. Shell Shock 2. I mean, does this just show that I have a fondness for bad games? So you have to complete the game twice. And I believe I completed the game on hard the second time round. No, actually, yeah, maybe I completed it on hard the first time round. Because all the achievements popped at the same time. But then did I just beat it on easy? Yeah, maybe I did. Maybe that's what the guide said. I mean, that game's not good. It runs badly as well. There's a couple of Overcooked achievements in here, which I'm kind of surprised by. I guess, I think Overcooked was one of those games that we played on like maybe it was a Christmas break or something. So, yeah, we played quite a lot of that. Friday Night at Freddy's 2, that, again, I'm surprised that's as high as it is, but actually I think that might be on Game Pass, so maybe that's why. But again, there's kind of easy ways to get around that. That's a relatively easy completion. We'll come back to that anyway. Yeah, here we go. Avatar, Burning Earth. Turning Point, Fall of Revolution. Fall of Revolution? What the hell is the name of that game? Fall of Liberty. This is one of those games that you can play the entire game on normal to get the achievements, and then I think you can effectively kind of fake it to play it on hard and just play the last level. So I think I did that. From memory, I remember the game, well, the game's not good anyway, but actually playing through that last level on Insane, one of the angriest experiences I've ever had playing a game. Perhaps I was not in a good mood that day, but man, oh man, I not want to play that game after that. Gun, another game you can play on easy and then just play the last level on Insane. That was offline because I was probably playing when I didn't have Wi-Fi or internet at that point. Tomb Raider Underworld. Again, I think there is... The reason that one's offline is I think you can play with cheats to get through that. That game was okay. And then the rest of these... Again, Doom Classic. Find all the secret levels is a kind of surprisingly high one. Paraloop Master. What the hell game is that? Oh, Nights into Dreams. Okay, I didn't know... that's quite a surprisingly high one. Actually, the completion's not very long on that. And I'm 2 achievements off. Interesting. Anyway. Yeah, so there's a bunch of stuff down here. Abzu, again, it's another one with the achievements. Guide for an hour. Don't Starve Giant Edition, I'm not going to take credit for that. That was a console command one, maybe. Terminator Salvation, again, another game you can play on easy and then just play the last level on hard. Burnout Paradise Remastered, I did play a lot of, as you can tell by that. I don't remember how much I got in the end. I only got 370, so I didn't actually get a lot. I played 11 hours. That's plenty, but I'm just trying to look for anything else of note before I switch it over to... I'm just going to switch over to the actual ratio. Have a look for some rarer... Yes, here we go. So Tetris Effect Connected. I bloody love Tetris. I am obsessed with Tetris. I haven't played much of Tetris Effect Connected because at the time I played it on Xbox One X and it didn't run very well. I'd already played it on PS4 because I had the PS4 Pro version. And so when it came on Xbox Game Pass, I was like, yeah, okay, I'll definitely play that. So, yeah, I tried to get some points out of this. What were the actual achievements it came out with? Clear 18 lines or more in a single zone visit. That was fun. But yeah, I played quite a bit. Again, Burnout Paradise. Project 8, that's one of these weird ones where it didn't feel that difficult, but I guess some people just couldn't be bothered to pick that one up. You can use cheats in Project 8 if you run the unpatched version, so basically force your Xbox offline, which is why, I mean, it's only 20 points, so I guess that's maybe why people couldn't be bothered to do that. The combo one is a similar one. Bejeweled 2, why is that so high? Is that because that's Game Pass and a load of people played it? And no, because the unlock percentages are really low. Maybe I'm just really good at Bejeweled. I do like puzzle games. Rare Replay, there's so many achievements in that I just kept going for it. I must have just found that by accident. What else we got? Premier League. This is a fun one. I believe this one, you basically have to play all the races at once or in one go. I'm pretty sure I plugged in 2 controllers and then just went off and did something else. So yeah, that's a daft achievement, that one. I guess that's why that's so high. What else we got? Some weird. Yeah, so I must have got a weird ending to Man of Medan. Trials of the Blood Dragon. Man, I wish that game was so much better than it was. I ended up following a guide to get all of the secrets because I was bored and I wanted to play some more Trials while I was waiting. When was that? March 18. Yeah, that was before Trials, not Fusion. It's the last one. Rising. So I didn't have a lot of Trials to play at that time. And, oh god, man, that game. I like what they were trying to do, but I don't love the way they actually did it. This one's a recent one. I happened to be playing Sonic CD for various boring reasons. But I realised I didn't have many points in it because I bought it at the time. In fact, I can probably have a look at the achievements. I bought it at the time. I played it. I completed it. I put it down. Couldn't be bothered doing anything else. And so I actually went and looked and thought, oh, there are some easy achievements in here I can just go and mop up while I'm playing it. As you can tell, I've played a lot of the Sonic games. Anything else of interest? I mean, I guess that one's going to be a rare one because is that one now not a thing you can do? Yeah. So that one's gone. What's that? Oh, is that Blackwater? Yeah, there you go. So there's probably some rare achievements for beating beating crap games that I play for playing Devil's Advocate. Yeah, Trials Rising, I ended up like playing a lot of that just because I enjoyed it. What else we got? So one of the weirdly rare completions, Crazy Taxi for Xbox Live Arcade. I figured that would be an easy one, but I guess it does take quite a long time, and it does take a certain amount of skill. So yeah. Anyway, that's kind of. I mean, is there anything else? I played Through the Darkness on hard. Go me. There's nothing much else in here that's of interest, I don't think. That isn't kind of a completion. D4? Why is that rare? Just a... I want to go back to this game. It's... I played it a long while ago. Yeah, 2014. Yeah, there's a lot of rare replay achievements in here, unsurprisingly. Yeah, beating Sonic 2 under an hour. That's a fairly... I guess that's fairly high because you get so little points for it. But that was back in the day when those points were harder to get. So, Damnation, Jesus Christ. It's just Yeah, that should be rare because nobody should be finishing that game. All right, that's enough. In quotes, rare achievements. Let's switch over to completions. That's probably more interesting. So yeah, I kind of hope this isn't just dry and me droning on for ages. There's probably quite a lot of completions in here, and then there's a few kind of close completions. So start at the top, I guess. So Spyro Reignited Trilogy, I got it when it came out. I'm actually going through it again on PlayStation just because it's a fun game to kind of play with the family. But yeah, I rinsed this game. I get the feeling I probably played it. The last time I played it was February. Yeah, I think I was playing it over Christmas break in 2018. So I've just amazing remake. I still think Spyro 1 is my favourite of the three. It's the one I played at the time. But yeah, it's really, really damn good. And playing through it again, I've just finished Spyro 1, so I've got 2 and 3 to do, but it's damn good. Speaking of games that are not damn good, we've got a bunch of Zilliton? Is that how you pronounce it? Zitilon. I got it wrong around. So, Castle of No Escape, Castle of No Escape 2 are these like top-down dungeon crawlers. You can get the achievements in like 15 minutes. I think they had to reset these back because they changed achievements, and apparently you can't do that after you launch a game. But yes, it is not very good. Although, if you're looking for cheap points, Castle of No Escape, the game's not that bad, and ultimately you could do worse. Bullet Beat is another one, so they've updated that to 3000 as well. That game, there is a certain amount of challenge to it from memory. I think it's because you have to do the endless mode, and then there's another mode, isn't there? Endless Hell. So it's not as straightforward as Castle of No Escape, but ultimately I think maybe, I don't know, is it more enjoyable? Probably not. The Explorer of Night, another one, 3000. This game is not good. It is, if I remember rightly, it's a really bad platformer. But yeah, definitely wouldn't recommend that one. Sims 4 is an interesting one because there are guides out there, because you can import people's saves. You can kind of import families that are, 99% of the way towards achievements, and then push them over the edge. So that one took me a couple of hours. It's not the most straightforward. There's a couple of spots where things can go wrong. But actually, The Sims 4 is kind of a fun game. So not the worst one. Aborigines, another Zitilon game, 2000. Kind of a memorable platformer from memory. A lot of these are kind of retro styled. Mushroom Quest is another one. Mushroom Quest I have absolutely no memory of. I think it's puzzly. But yeah, it's not a great game, if I can tell you that. Fallout 3 for the PC. This is an old school completion. I probably got it in 2011. So I'm guessing the only way you can get this now is buying a boxed copy of Fallout 3 for the PC, because you need the Games for Windows Live version. I believe the version that's on PC in Steam now is the Steam version. They've actually patched Games for Windows Live out. Getting Games for Windows Live games running on Windows outside of Vista, and actually probably even including Vista, is a pain in the arse. If you've ever tried to get, so it was like Batman Arkham City, GTA 4, Fallout 3. It's almost not worth it. unless you desperately need those points. But for Fallout 3, it's dead easy because you can use a console command to add the achievements. Hence, doing it in less than an hour. Subnautica, we already talked about. Achievement, it's just like a console commands and then running through some things, takes about an hour. Sega Mega Drive Ultimate Collection was probably my first, honestly, my first proper completion, maybe. Not difficult, but 8 to 10 hours, but you have to play through quite a lot of games, and some of them are harder than others. So, you know, completing Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, more difficult than, pick a random one, Streets of Rage complete first level using all 3 characters. So it's kind of an excuse to play a bunch of Mega Drive games. I guess that's kind of where retro achievements comes in these days, but I like these kind of retro collection things. Abzu, another achievement guide. Shell Shock 2, again, you got to play through the game twice. It's not good. It does not run well. It's very frustrating. I have played worse, absolutely. It would definitely be a candidate for playing devil's advocate if I could bring myself to play through it again. But there's just so much bad games out there that playing through that again seems like, you know, there's more stuff out there. 5000 Freddy's 2 we already talked about. Doom 64. I actually bought this legitimately and was playing it legitimately. So it's got a time on it. I imagine it's pretty high. Doesn't have a time on it. But yeah, I was kind of just playing through it for my own enjoyment, and then discovered that actually the achievements are dead easy. So you'll probably see, like, yeah, late March, early April, and then all of a sudden in May, I just start blasting through the achievements. So yeah, really good. I was always really suspicious of Doom 64. Having played it, I don't think I ever owned the cartridge. I'm sure I've emulated it at some point, or I played the PC port. Is that Doom 64 EX? I had a quick kind of play around with that, but never quite got it. And actually playing it properly on Xbox One, it finally made sense, and it is good. It's probably still in my lower threshold of Doom games. It's nowhere near as good as Doom 1 or 2. It's probably on par with Doom 3, maybe, for very different reasons, obviously. Doom 3, we might get to that later, but you know, Doom 3 is a game that I've only just recently completed. But yeah, Doom 64 is not bad, and it's dead easy to get the 1000 out of that. Genius 3D, again, very similar to Doom 64. You can get the achievements from cheating your way around the game. Minesweeper Genius, like I said, I love puzzle games. This took a few hours, and eventually you do need to start using some sort of... I can't remember if I started using guides on this or whether I actually just brute forced my way through it, but it's a good little puzzle game. I quite enjoyed it, and it's quite cheap. So this is one of those ones that I think it doesn't count as like a Ratalaika, Zitalon, Sometimes You style game where you're just playing it for 20 minutes and getting all the points. You do have to put some effort in, as you can tell by the ratios. So I quite enjoyed it. Pathologic 2, console commands, PC. Agent A, there's a guide online for it. It's a point and click adventure game. It's not the most fun I've ever had in my entire life. I kind of wanted to like it. I think I've got a feeling I bought it on Switch before I bought it on Xbox, but I can't remember. Either way, I probably won't be playing it again. Unmechanical Extended is another platformer, I want to say, with odd achievement scores. So if you need, as you probably noticed, my points have just been bumped. I spent ages trying to get my thing back to 5 and 0, and then in the last couple of weeks I've just bumped it back again into odd numbers. Full Throttled I did literally today? Day before? Yesterday. I feel weird about Full Throttle. I was always really excited to try it, and then it appeared on Game Pass, and I saw a guide go up on YouTube for it. I was like, "Wow, am I ever going to get around to playing it? Probably not." So I just kind of blasted through the achievement guide just to see what that game was about. And to be honest, I don't know. I like the humour. I like the writing in those games. But I want to like those LucasArts adventure games because the writing is so good. I just can't bring myself to play the games. So yeah, I could see at the time why that would be a big deal, but for me, not my sort of thing. Donut County is really good. That's only an hour or two's worth of playtime, but I've really enjoyed that as another Game Pass one. Numa Breath of Life was a early Games with Gold game, I think. Again, that's another follower guide for a couple of hours and get the full 1,000. Same with Fearful Symmetry and the Cursed Prince, although that game very often is on offer for very cheap prices. If it will show it on here. Oh, it showed you a graph, but never mind. I'm pretty sure I bought it for a couple of quid, if that. And is this one of those games where you literally just follow a up, down, left, right guide? I think it is. It's okay. Where the Bees Make Honey is this weird kind of... I've got a blue thing next to it. Oh, because of the DLC. They added an extra achievement to it. Again, another one that it will go cheap very often. It's a very strange game. It's got lots of different kind of gameplay bits and pieces to it. I don't think it's particularly good. It's very ropey in terms of like how it performs. I played it on Xbox One X at the time, and it didn't run well. God only knows what it runs like on an Xbox One. Maybe an Xbox Series X would play nicely with it. But I'm not going to go back to that. Don't Starve, Console Commands, Little Acre, Achievement Guide, another point-and-click adventure game. Tracks was another game that was Game Pass. Again, that's a relatively hour short one. Open Season is not a short one. That was an actual play the game achievement. I guess a licensed platformer. What else can you say about those sorts of things? Uncanny Valley is another point-and-click adventure game. I like the concept behind that game. I like the feel of it. I didn't love the execution of it. Lost Via Domus is a bad third-person adventure game. Featured it on licensed video games, I think. Or at least I think I did. I recorded that. Yeah, not good. Surf's Up, another platformer game. Telling Lies, another one that's like a 40-minute adventure game. Telling Lies is an interesting one because I played... it's a Sam Barlow game, I think. So I played his previous game, which was... what was it called? Her Story on PC at the time, and I played that legitimately, and I enjoyed it for what it was. Telling Lies... I don't know. I maybe didn't need that game again. But an interesting kind of evolution of that system. 7 Minute Salvation we already talked about. It's a bad third-person shooter. There are easier ways to get your points these days. Surviving Mars. That's one where you can download mods, both on Xbox and on PC. And load the game up and you get your 1,000 points. Forza Horizon 2 presents Fast and Furious. So I've got this on this list twice. I played it on Xbox One first, which is great. They've just used the Forza Horizon 2 engine and plonked Fast and Furious stuff in it. It's great. 360 version. I should also mention it was free at the time, so that was a free achievement point. And a good game. I really enjoyed Forza Horizon 2. The 360 version, not as good. Very much not as good. Partly because they had the game kind of changes a little bit. So you end up not quite as free roam from what I remember. Which is fair enough because the 360 doesn't have the system resources that the Xbox One did. But I ended up feeling like it was a lesser game. And I presume the same is true of Forza Horizon 2. That was a game that came out on both Xbox One and Xbox 360. I think the Xbox 360 version is deficient in that sort of way. But it's been so long. I mean, this is probably 2014, I would guess. 2015. But yeah, the points were dead easy. It was like a, few hours. But I love Fast and Furious. I love Forza Horizon. What's to go wrong? Black the Fall, I remember being a platformer kind of adventure game. Not very good. Not to my taste anyway. What Remains of Edith Finch. Another kind of, I think that was a first person kind of story. I followed a guide for that, but I don't know. I feel like walking simulators, I have seen too many of them. There's a bunch of them right here, like What Remains of Edith Finch. There's Tacoma, Gone Home, and I've seen some bad ones as well as good ones. Like Edith Finch is good, but I don't know. They're just not for me. Another World. That was I think that was a following a guide kind of jobby. Yeah, hour to 2 hours. Took me an hour and a half. That game's cool. Peter Jackson's King Kong. There's a classic. I played through that entire game. Again, it's a short game, but I played through that. Brothers. I think that was a guide following. I'm assuming so. Yeah, because there's some missable achievements in here. But I played this. I want to say I played it on PC maybe when it first came out. So this wasn't my first time playing through it. So I didn't mind kind of blasting through it. Pixark, you can get all the achievements in a demo. So you can download the trial on Xbox One and just blast through with console commands. Goosebumps the game, you can follow a guide for that. Another point-click adventure game, not a particularly good one. But it is made by Way Forward, who make fine games. Didn't particularly like that one. Gardens Between, another kind of puzzly game. That was a Game Pass one as well. Whispering Willows. We're getting down into an hour and 9 minutes. Yeah, that is a played for achievements kind of job. I remember literally nothing. I think it's like a platformer adventure game from memory. Beyond Eyes I bought because it came up in one of those lists of this will be quite common, easy achievement point games. It's an interesting idea in terms of you're playing a character who doesn't have sight or has very limited sight. So you're walking very slowly and kind of walking by sense. But ultimately it ends up feeling less like a game and more like interactive fiction. And not necessarily in a particularly interesting way for me. So yeah, an interesting idea, but not quite. Didn't really hold my attention other than getting the points. The Long Reach is a platformery, horror-y game. Did not leave a lasting impression. Checo in the Castle of Lucio is a really bad platformer that I wish I hadn't played. Again, easy points, but at what cost? Yeah, did not enjoy that game at all. 6180 The Moon. It's really like minimalistic platformer. That's pretty good actually. I quite enjoyed that. But then I do quite like those kind of minimalist platformers. Fight Night Round 3. I don't remember playing that at all. I guess I must have finished that. When did I do that? 2015, apparently. Okay. That's a good game. Her Majesty's Spiffing. So I originally played through this on PlayStation as part of playing Devil's Advocate. So played it without an achievement guide, just played it kind of on my own. I've done a little bit of Googling in the middle of that, if I remember rightly, when I got stuck. But then at some point I was like, well, that's got a platinum trophy. So I went back and actually cleaned up all the trophies I missed. And then I bought it on Xbox and did the achievements. As you can see, very recently, because I'm sick in the head. Jump, step, step, another one that you just follow it up, down, left, right guide. It's pretty naff. TMNT, a bad third-person game. Night at the Museum 2, another bad platformer. Surviving Mars, again we talked about it earlier. Doug hates his job. So this game I actually gave up on multiple times. I strongly dislike this game. It is... What's the best way to put it? They've put a cheat mode into this so you can select scenes, so you can just kind of skip around the achievements. But just... It does not play well. That's my ultimate problem with it. If it played better, I wouldn't have a problem with it. And I might find the humour more interesting, but it's just so unfocused. You know, it's one of those games that tries to do everything, and it does everything poorly. There's driving sequences, there's, you know, Streets of Rage brawler sequences, there's a trivia game, there's, you know, it's kind of a mess, and not in a particularly enlightening way. So I'd struggle to recommend that one, really. Wonder Song, again, you can select scenes from that one, so you can kind of skip round and push through that one. Qbot is another up, down, left, right, follow a guide. Megamind, I actually did play through. Again, that's just a get all the collectibles type game. I remember that game being not good, as you might expect. Concept Destruction. So this game I actually really like. It's like a destruction derby game, but it's got an art style not dissimilar to Drawn to Death, that really bad David Jaffe game. But this is it was one of the earlier next gen games from Ratalaika. I bought it originally on PlayStation 5, and on there you had 2 sets of trophies for PS4 and PS5. And then I bought it on Xbox Series X to get the achievements here. So it's very short to get the achievements. There are a couple of things you got to go in and do. But actually, just playing through the game, I quite enjoyed it. I think, you know, they've got something here that could be turned into an interesting game, especially for a cheap achievement game. Actually, really good. NCIS. Can't remember if I followed a guide or not for that one, but it's an adventure game. Endless Legend, console commands, not my sort of game. Mechanica is it's an adventure game with like an alternative sense of humour. I found it quite grating, but alternately kind of charming and grating in equal measure. It's okay. It's not gonna change the world. Get the points out of it. It wasn't that bad, but I don't think I would pick to play. Radio Squid, a platform I did not enjoy. Found it kind of frustrating to play. Transference is a weird adventure game. Was this the game that oh god, what's his name? Bloody actor guy. I can't remember who was advertising it. Don't know why I'm looking at this. It's not going to tell me, is it? But yeah, it's a short completion. I followed the guide for that one because I kind of bought it to play in VR and never got round to it. pretty sure Transference is a VR game. It's interesting. It's got some interesting ideas. It's got a couple of good, decent jump scares, if I remember rightly. But yeah. Mr. Pumpkin Adventures, another kind of point-and-click adventure game. Follow a guide. Astrologiaster is it's almost a visual novel, I guess. But then it's got a really cool art style that kind of reminds me of Rock of Ages, the Atlas Ace Team, with a kind of cutout historical figures kind of look to it. Interesting. Again, followed a guide. I don't think the gameplay is actually that interesting to me. But then I'm not particularly a visual novel kind of person. So, Fractured Minds, good like little cheap adventure game. I mean, for the amount of money they were asking for that, how much it actually is? £1.79. Yeah, it's worth that. Haunted Halloween 86 is kind of a really cheap NES style platformer. Points Daddy's getting it. It's probably fine for what it was. I quite enjoyed it. Birthday of Midnight. I cannot remember. These games have different names across PlayStation and Xbox. This is the level-based one. I don't mind this. I think it might be Midnight Deluxe. It's technically 30. Oh no, because that's got levels as well. No, maybe I'm thinking of two different games anyway. The Midnight games, there's only one of them I don't like. We'll get to that when we get to trophies because the Vita version's rough. Energy Cycle is another kind of just cheap platform game from Brightly. Have a look and see if I can see screenshots of it to remind me. Gonna work. Come on, show me a screenshot. Or show me a video. Oh. Yes, it is. It's just like, that's basically the gameplay. It's just a bunch of circles that you press on to make them all go the same colour. It's not... You wouldn't be playing it if you didn't have points to get. Without Escape is like an adventure game. It's alright. It's very short. I'm sure you get your money's worth out of it if you weren't playing it for points. Full Blast is like a shooter. Not Gallagher, but kind of R-Type or Tyrion or Raptor or that style of game. It's pretty good, but again, it's Ratalaika, so you only play a very small amount of it to get your points. Here in a Garden's a visual novel that I don't want to talk about. Do just Rememoried, again, another one that you can literally skip through the achievements in like 48 seconds because there's a cheat code in it. Avatar is a classic, and I had a rental account at the time, so I rented that game. I played it for 10 minutes. I put it straight back in the post box. Jack and Jill DX is a retro kind of auto-run platformer. It's very, very, very basic. Again, don't think it's a game you'd be playing unless you were getting points out of it. Blind Men, again, visual novel. Would not be playing it unless you wanted points out of it. Then we get into kind of the Xbox Live Arcade side of things, where points were less than 1,000. So Crazy Taxi is my rarest. I guess because the special box achievements are quite tricky. I love Crazy Taxi, so I was happy to sit and bash my head against this, get all the achievements out of it. Yeah, really good. Sonic the Fighters, it's not a good game. I remember going to an arcade and seeing it when I was a kid, and then when I finally got to play it, because I think it was in Sonic Gems collection for PS2, and then it appeared on Xbox Live Arcade, so I bought it. I mean, as you can tell, I got all the achievements. So when did I start? 1542. I completed it 1603, so that's a good 20-minute completion. The More is a great third-person platformer, puzzle platformer sort of thing. I love this game. I can't remember. I think I played it on 360 first, and then I completed it. And then I played it again on Steam, maybe. But yeah, Twisted Pixel Games, really, really good. I love that game. Pac-Man Championship Edition, again, that's an absolute classic. I don't remember that being that tricky. Maybe it scored. What's the rarest one here? Score 400,000 points. Yeah. But yeah, dead good. And you know, DX is better. 2 is less good. So Sonic Wolfenstein 3D. I just picked this up one day and just kind of. I was on Xbox One, so it must have been back compat. Or maybe I played it on the Xbox. I can't remember. We had to complete all 6 episodes. I think I just sat for a day. I know I played it over multiple days. I just sat and bashed my head against it. Really enjoyed it. Sonic, got the full 200. Beating the game in under 40 minutes was the hardest one from Brightly. But yeah, I'm a Sonic fan. Hell. Banjo-Kazooie, again, I love Banjo-Kazooie. When that was one of the first games I bought when I got my 360. And I just sat and, you know, 100%ed that game. I still maintain that, as you can see from the series, I do not like Banjo-Tooie. And I want to go back to it and kind of, whether I sit with a guide, whether I play it just in my own time. I love Nuts and Bolts. I love the original. I just cannot get on with Banjo-Tooie. It's too big. They lose their way a little bit in terms of giving you too much to do. Or too aimless. Sonic and Knuckles was dead easy, if I'm right. At least just getting all the Chaos Emeralds was the thing that was hardest. Costume Quest. I, again, loved Costume Quest when it came out. I've even got the DLC for this, I think. Yeah. That's a damn good game. Sonic 3, completed. DX Plus, yep, completed that as well. Like I said, that was a really easy 200 from Brightly. We've got some free Doritos games. So we've got Harm's Way, Dash of Destruction. There's another one as well. Oh, it was oh god, it was the Wipeout similar game. Oh god, what was it called? Crash Course. Which I think I featured. I must have featured all of those on licensed video games at some point. But yeah, Harm's Way is dead easy. Dash of Destruction again, similar. Daytona USA, really easy completion. I was really happy to see that come out because that's a really good version of that. Walking Dead, I think I just played through the first episode because it was free. But the 360 version is so, so bad. It just runs like absolute dog shit. I was playing it on PC anyway, so I have played most of The Walking Dead. But I was going to play it on 360 for 100 points. And then Wordament and Mahjong, just some extra bits and pieces. So this has been running really long. I didn't realise how long we've been running. So I'm not going to run through all my near completions. Much to say that Goat Simulator, Flappy Bird or Flappy Goat can bite me. Doom 2, there's one achievement I'm missing, which is playing the entire game on Nightmare and co-op, which is just, when am I ever going to do that? Modern Warfare 2, I'm pretty sure all I'm missing is the Spec Ops missions, because I couldn't enlist anybody to help play that at the time. I would have happily gone for a full 1,000. Sonic 2, there's one achievement left, which I think is, yeah, Xbox Live. Not going to do that. Pac-Man 256, this has been hanging around for ages, but I've got one achievement left, which is upgrading every power-up, which that's a lot of time to kind of commit to that game. So yeah, there's some good games. There's some good games here to clean up on. but the likelihood is I'll probably never go back to a lot of these. So yeah, that's more than enough on achievements. As you can see, most of the completions are for crappy games that you probably shouldn't play. But yeah, it's interesting to look back and see in what way I have wasted my life playing all of these terrible, terrible games, instead of just, dedicating my time to playing good games and trying to complete those. But yeah, anyway, I thought that might be interesting, but I'm not entirely convinced. But is that going to stop me putting it up? I don't know. Let's see. If you're seeing this, then it hasn't stopped me. Yeah, maybe if I can give myself enough of a break, I'll come back and talk about trophies, because I feel like recently I've gotten a bug for getting trophies again, especially with the rampant kind of bad games with platinums. That's kind of rekindled my interest a little bit, to the point where I'm actually playing good games for platinums now, not just cheap crap. But yeah, for now that's kind of that. So cheers for watching if you watched all the way through this. Don't know who this is for, but I've enjoyed talking, and it's killed nearly an hour, so job done. Good. Cheers.